I'm going to start off this lesson with the second reason why we use symbols in instances. If you recall, the first reason was file size. Well, the second reason is so that we can use ActionScript to control objects on our stage. If you take a basic drawn shape, there's not a lot you can do with it. You can shape tween it in the timeline, but that's about it. However, once we convert it to a symbol, and subsequently an instance on the stage, we can send ActionScript commands to it and make it do things. Now, for this, we need a name, and that's what an instance name is. This way, Flash will know where the command has to go to. You can find the instance name of a particular object by selecting it and looking in the Properties Inspector. You'll see it right here. I haven't assigned any here yet, so this is blank. I'll assign one now. I'll call it Grayball01. And you can do the same with each of your instances. Now, before we go any farther, if you think about why we have an instance name, that is, so Flash will know where to send a command to, you'll know that we should not use the same instance name for any two instances in a movie. So for this one, I'll call it Grayball02, and so on. Now, once you've typed the name in here, you can apply it by either hitting the Enter or Return key, or simply clicking away. Selecting another object will automatically apply it as well. Call this Grayball03, click away, and when I come back, it's still there. So, one very important thing to keep in mind, again, is that each instance should have a unique name. But another, possibly more important thing, requires us to have a look at the timeline. All of these objects have been put into a keyframe in the timeline. We'll be covering keyframing in depth later on in this course, but for now you can see that there's a black dot there. Now, what happens if I create another keyframe out here? Okay, there's a new keyframe. Now let's have a look at our instances here. This one still has the instance name. So does that one. And so does that one. Now, we haven't applied any to these. So let's do that now. We'll go back to frame 20 and give this one a name. Alright, back to frame 30. These all still have their names, but this one doesn't. That's because we applied the instance names here before creating a new keyframe. Once I created this extra keyframe, Flash thought that this was a totally separate instance. Now, one of the biggest problems that can happen in Flash design, and I've seen this time and time again, I even do it myself once in a while, is that you'll send a command to a particular instance and it just won't work. And you'll end up scratching your head and you'll wonder why. A lot of the time, it's because you've created a keyframe before you've given an instance name. For this reason, I make a habit every time I put an instance on the stage of giving it a name. You don't have to. It might seem time-consuming at times, but if you look at how much time you spend debugging your Flash files, and again, we'll get to that later, it's well worth it. You don't have to do this, but I would suggest every time you put an instance on the stage, give it a unique name.